Okay.
Okay.
Well, okay. I mean, yeah, you can stay there. It just means that both of them are still in your face and could potentially get swings on you if they don't die beforehand.
Okay.
Okay, you're gonna stay there?
Yeah, well, because all I could really do was move there anyway without, 5 getting me? So, because if I moved here, 5 would get me, wouldn't he?
Well, he'll get a chance of an opportunity attack. It doesn't mean it'll hit. But if you stay where you were in either of those squares, if you stay there, they're both going to get to hit you the next round.
Okay.
At least if you try to get away, they may not. Maybe they'll go for a different target, or there's any number of opportunities. It's just a matter of how you want to handle it. But if you stay there, they're almost certainly both going to attack you because they're pretty one-track minded, and you're right in front of them.
True. All right, well, I'll move back a bit.
Okay. All right, then 5 will get to try an opportunity attack on you. Like a target. That makes sense. Okay. So you kind of try to duck away and turn around and run. Not run, but kind of step backwards as fast as you can. He tries to swing at you again and hits. Pretty nasty slash actually. You already used your reaction on this round, right? Wait, was it this round?
No, I don't think I've been hit this round.
It was when 10 swung at you earlier this round, so yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you could still get away, so you still make your way, up there. He just swung at you on your way as you were running. Okay. And that's it for your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. 10's turn. It is, after it just got lit up on fire, it's going to immediately turn around and see Alice there and is going to try to swing at her. And only misses, so he actually brings his Morning Star down towards her, and it actually kind of slides off of her arm where she kind of holds her arm up defensively. And it kind of slides off in a way that what you can see, and that's what you're paying close attention to her, of course, because you both have your own things to deal with. It looks like it would have hurt her, but whatever that shiny shit that's on her skin has protected her from it. 7's turn is going to swing at Westra. Oops, wrong thing. And hits. You have a shield on, right?
Yeah, it should have been on.
It is. He just rolled too high. He rolled an 18. So, still hits you. Kind of block part of it with your shield, but it kind of slides off of the end of it and kind of slams into your side, your left side, crashing against your rib cage. That's Ever's turn. Your turn.
Okay. I'm gonna leave this on.
Okay. Oh, so you could have riposted or parried that. He did hit you, so you could have parried that if you wanted to use one of your superiority.
That really does.
Yeah.
And that short rest.
It's basically, yeah. I mean, you just since the time you've been here in Wave Echo, you would have gotten the full thing back. Meaning you could have used it 8 times so far, and you've used it 0 times.
Okay.
Do you want to have parried the attack where he swung at you? You can still do it if you want to. It's basically, it just would ignore some of the damage. It would heal yourself for up to 10. That's how it would work.
Yeah, sure.
9. Okay, so click on, you've got that superiority, click the magnifying glass. And
Okay.
Heal.
For repair?
Hang on, because I think it doesn't have the target on there. Let me change it real quick. Fix that. All right, go ahead. Yeah, you're good now.
Alright, parry?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's 4. So he did 9, and you ignored 4 of it, basically. So you only took 5 damage instead. Go ahead and mark off 1 use of it. So how that works, basically, is that where you deflected it with your shield, you ignored some of the damage from it. That's how that works.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and make your... Actually, you already rolled your attack, and a hit. Go ahead and roll your damage. Where he kind of clubs you in the side is he's using both hands for it. He swung both hands like a baseball bat into your side. You kind of knocked it away with your shield just enough that it still hits you in the side, but it was still a fatal mistake on his part. You bring the axe on and just bury it into his neck, between his neck or his head and his shoulder. and it just cleaves straight in. But you gotta have to kind of put your foot on his midsection. You can't quite reach his chest, but you put your foot on his midsection and yank the axe out, and he comes just tumbling down to the ground dead. That one's toast. You still have one attack and a bonus action.
Alright, now I can move up on this one, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was only like 15 feet, 20 feet, something like that.
Yeah, it's a 20.
Okay. And it hits. So he's facing directly away from you. You just come in, swinging your axe down at his back, just right between his shoulder blades. And it sinks straight in between him. Couldn't roll your damage.
Damn.
Reroll it. Right.
No.
No.
Wait a minute.
It's only
Oh,
the
it's
first
only if
one,
you're...
right?
No, it's only when you're using it two-handed. Yeah. It's Great Weapon Master specifically, so if you're using it two-handed, you would get to re-roll that. If you're using it one-handed, you don't.
Okay.
But still kind of jabs in between his shoulder blades. You turn just enough that it feels like it kind of shifted against one of the shoulder blades, the actual bone itself. So it didn't sink in all the way and kill him, but still, nasty cut down his back, and he roars and kind of looks over his shoulder at you. But it's your turn.
Yeah, that should be it.
Never mind. You get one more. Remember, this is something. I know this is
You killed something.
somewhat complicated, but remember, you killed it, so that was your extra attack for having killed the other one for your Great Weapon Master. This one. So you still have your second attack.
Okay. For some reason, I had it stuck in my head that it had to be critical.
It's either critical or kill.
Okay.
Both of those count, and in that case, you would kill that one, so you still get your extra attack.
Okay. Not that it matters.
This one, you kind of try to swing at him again, and he has just already turned himself around and kind of hopped out of the way just as you bring the attack down. All right, 5's turn. He is now, roaring in your face and is going to immediately try to bring the javelin in a wide swing, or the Morningstar up over his head in a wide swing, just a big kind of circling arc, and then bring it down on you. And hits.
Okay, so I can...
You can parry or whatever if you want.
Yeah, he hit, so you could use parry. He did 10 damage total, so go ahead and click your parry if you want to use it again.
But, so is parry a response then?
Both parry and riposte are reactions, yes. So it takes your reaction to do it, but how it works basically is anytime something attacks you, whether they hit or not, you can use you can either parry it if it hits, or riposte if it misses.
Okay, even if I've already used my reaction?
Never mind. You already used it this turn. Yep, sorry. You already used it this turn, so you've already used your reaction, which means you don't have it until your next turn, so never mind. So he just clubs down, brings his Morningstar straight down on you. You don't even have time to put your shield up in the way. It just smashes into your shoulder. That's it for his turn. It is Alice's turn. She has this one in her face. She doesn't really have time to even, ask for what you guys want her to do. She is going to... that won't work. She's going to use the same kind of beam of fire that you saw her use on the last one, on this one again. And hits. And so he's kind of just still burning, not again, but it wasn't, the beam wasn't enough. So you see her kind of another kind of gleam in her eye, and then she is going to just the exact same process, throw another one out from her hand, straight burning him. And this time, you see his, well, you don't see this actually because it's in front of her, but he just kind of his form begins to kind of start to ashen a little bit on the outside. He just begins to kind of collapse down until it's just a pile of dirt. That one is toast. Ross' turn.
Okay.
Do you recognize this one, by the way, G? It's a little bit more, well, the game isn't obscure, but I don't remember this song from it.
Vaguely. What is it? I'm not going to be able to guess it.
It's one of the secret amount of ones.
Ah. Okay. Nice.
Okay, what are you doing?
All right. See if I can hit 5 with main hand.
Okay, you still have your full attack rounds. They're both main and offhand, and it hits.
Okay.
So it had just swung down at Westra and hit her in the shoulder, and you kind of sneak in behind it and just stab. Yeah, you are the only one.
Westeros there. Enemy of his.
Yeah, you have her flanking anyway. Yep, that's fine. Go ahead.
Fucker.
You kind of stab into his back right through the back where the heart is and straight through the heart. And it kind of freezes for a second, and it's still alive. But you got to pull your knife out, and you can see that the blood that's pouring out of it is just the beating from it is slowing, and it just begins to kind of slump to one knee and then slops down onto the floor.
Sweet.
You do, as soon as that ends, you hear that there's still sound coming from that room that's off to your right down the end of that tunnel there. So
Okay.
it doesn't mean that you guys are out of the woods completely, but there is still sound coming from down there, and you do have those the stacks and stacks and stacks of zombies at the other side of the room that don't appear to be paying any attention to you.
Okay, now is that the tunnel close to where Wester and I are, or the one to the south?
I'll put a
Oh,
block
okay, to the straight west.
Yeah, see that red square?
Yeah.
So that's
where the zombies are.
Yeah, so actually covering there and then both sides, and then that whole tunnel as far back as you can see, or zombie after zombie after zombie.
And the sound is coming from the tunnel on the opposite side.
Yeah,
the western tunnel.
Yeah, the western where that door is, which is the same door that when you were on the other side. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Okay.
You guys were on the other side, and then you heard the trolls coming.
I'm gonna collect the knives that I threw first quickly.
I meant to remind you of that. Yeah, always remember to grab those because you've lost 4 total so far. 2 one time and then 2 another time from forgetting to pick them up. So good that you remembered.
Yeah, I actually wanted to think about that this time because I almost forgot.
Yeah, you'd left 2 of them in the skull, so I assumed you'd pick those up when you had picked up the skull. But
yeah,
just remember to grab those. Okay. All right, so as you guys are kind of picking your things up, looking around, Alice says, "Guys, I'm not feeling too good. Like, we really need to find a spot to take a rest."
Yeah, good thinking. All right, well then, this way, right?
Yeah, she says, we should go back to that room maybe and just take a break for a few minutes and kind of regroup, figure out what we're gonna do.
Let's go.
Okay, I'll move her over if you guys want to move yourselves there. So you make your way, back through the tunnels, basically the way that you've come, which has been, as far as, although this place isn't exactly safe, most of the things that you've run across during your path through these tunnels here, at least the way you're back there, were the ghouls. They are ghouls, but they're specifically, they are just long dead dwarves that have been here for a long time. They don't appear to be aggressive to you. So anyways, so you guys make your way back there. She's kind of bandaging herself up a little bit. She's not nearly as badly wounded as you guys are. So she's as she's kind of bandaging herself up a little bit, she says, is there anything I can do to help you guys? Like, you're not looking too good.
No, I don't think so, because she still has, or she used her own potion on herself, and she needs to probably save hers anyway, right?
Yeah, she doesn't have. So she used another fireball, so that's gone, and she used scorching ray twice. I should have been marking those off earlier, but I wasn't. I forgot to mark off her spell slots. Anyway, yeah. So she doesn't really have much to actually help you. She's just trying to be, helpful.
I tell her just to rest, relax herself.
Both of you roll a medicine check. Okay. Yeah, you're both able to stop the bleeding. I mean, the spot in your ribs where the mace for Westra, where the Morningstar kind of caved into to the side there, hurts really bad. And there's another puncture wound in the chain there where the mace went through. But you guys have stopped the bleeding, and I mean you're definitely pretty beaten up, but you're not getting any worse. You're not continuing to bleed or anything like that. So what are you guys doing?
Now I have a question. So I've got my second wind. that it says I get back every short rest. Now, can I use that, and then by the time we're done with the short rest, it'll be back?
Yep.
Or is that only in combat?
No, you can use that anytime you want. Yeah.
Nice, honey.
Okay, so then I'm gonna use that then.
Yeah, it'll save you a hit die for sure. Okay. That's a nice heal for nothing. Go ahead and mark it off. I guess you're going to get it back on the short rest anyway, but... Okay. And you just parried once, yeah, so nothing else to mark off there. Alright, you going to use your hit dice?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was good thinking, Becky.
Okay, so do you just hit the hit dice once, or no? I guess you
Roll.
drag it over.
No, you can just double-click it as many times as
Oh,
you want.
okay.
Just double-click it, and then it'll heal a little bit, and then see if you need to keep using it or not. Let me know when you guys are done.
Yeah, mine are
I'm
all
gonna
out.
stay there.
Okay. So you guys are going over those, and Alice, as you guys are kind of taking a minute to bandage yourselves up and everything, Alice is kind of looking off a little bit idly. She says, you know, I was over there looking at that all those zombies back in that hallway, and they're definitely defending something. Like, I can feel something back there. I think that's where the forge has to be. It's the only thing that feels, I don't know. Like, I mean, I've never felt it before. There's definitely something of a significant magical power back there. So I mean, if that's what we're looking for, you know, I know that we've got to find Gundren's brother, and maybe he's back there. But either way, there's definitely something strong back there, and that's what the spider was looking for, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She says, "Well, I mean, I was looking through them, and that tunnel is so thick with zombies that even, you know, we kill one, it's just going to stand right back up again, and we're going to have to just wade through tons and tons of them. You know, maybe there's another way back there. Remember that tunnel when we first came in, and it was all green and covered in that fungusy stuff? Like, that's the only other spot that looks like it may go back that way."
Okay.
Go give it a try.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna give you my my other healing potion, just so that way you have another one, because you seem to get hurt worse than I do.
Well, yeah, but...
And then I'll keep my greater healing potion.
Okay, well, I was going to say I have a greater healing potion still, too, so don't you lose all yours. But if you have two, that's fine. If you want to, that's fine.
No,
but
I'll keep the
make sure
greater
you
one,
keep-
you can have the
okay.
other one.
Because you never know what's going to happen. So,
Well,
Yeah, but I also have my second wind.
Yeah, she has other means of mitigating damage too. So it's all just, you know, a matter of luck. If you get hit multiple times in a round and you can't use your uncanny dodge, that can really hurt on a road.
yeah. Right, well, then if you want to, you can give me your regular one, but you got to keep your greater one, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright, thank you.
All right. So you guys have you know, spent a good 45 minutes, an hour, kind of patching yourselves back up again. You're you know, getting ready to go. What are you doing?
Alright, then we need to get back to that other tunnel, right?
Yeah. Okay, I have a question. So I have that wound closure thing on, right?
Yeah, parry after wound closure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, because on here it says whenever you roll a hit die, you gain hit points double the number of hit points.
I forgot about that. Yep, double number that restores. So what did you roll so far for them?
I only did one. I think it was
Just one?
9.
All right.
Yeah.
That's an extra 9, so you only have 1 hit point loss, or one wound as far as your hit points are concerned right now. Nice. It's good that you're remembering
Because
those things, because there's so, like, really that's why it's so important that you know, every person remembers or knows their own character as thoroughly as possible, because there's just no way that I'm going to remember everything, especially, you know, as you guys keep getting new abilities and magic items and things like that.
Yeah, well, I noticed it on there, but I wanted to go read it
Yep, that's perfect. That's a huge
because
difference,
I didn't
actually.
remember what it did.
Yeah. Yeah, I remembered the death thing on it. I didn't remember the hit dice thing. Alright, so you guys are moving around to the green tunnel down at the entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. So
I'll drop Alice down.
go this way.
keep accidentally dragging the mouse too far and snapping it off to one of my other monitors. There we go. Alright, so from there, I mean, you can see just up into the tunnel a little ways, you see just dense, thick carpets of weird fungi that are covering large sections of the floor in the cavern ahead. Doesn't seem to be, you don't see anything moving necessarily, but there is kind of a very slight pulsing to a lot of these large puff balls that are about a foot across, that are their shelf fungus growing all over the place. They're just covering the stalagmites. Large stalks and mushroom caps that are a good 5 feet tall. Some of the puff balls are glowing with this green phosphorescence this light is coming from.
Alright, is there enough room to like sneak in between them without touching the ones that are glowing?
You'll need to be very careful moving through it, but it looks like you could probably make your way through. You can actually roll an investigation, since you're in the front and looking.
Alright, give me a second again. Be right back.
Right. You look through it and you actually can see just vague imprints where it looks like very large boots stepped into the beginning of this room. And they go in for a few feet, and it's hard to kind of make out where these prints are, but as soon as you see one, then you can kind of look ahead where, the next blueprint would logically be, and you start kind of looking around, you can just barely see where a second blueprint would be, and then a third, and then a fourth, and you kind of just keep kind of going one by one, to where this trail would go in. It only goes in about 10 or 15 feet, and then it looks like there's, kind of a spot where they stamped around a bunch and then turned around and came right back out again, and the blueprints come back towards you. And it looks like the fungus is where those bootprints are, is it just kind of put a depression into this blanket of fungusy shit that's growing across the floor. And then, returns back towards this. Like something went in for a few feet and then turned around and came right back out again.
Alright, well then I guess I'll try to just walk in the bootprint.
Okay.
Best I can.
Sure.
No.
Yeah, so you step in, go ahead and move yourself in.
Like there?
Yeah, I mean a little bit further even actually, because it was about 15 feet in, so let's say probably there is as far as those bootprints go. Alice comes up behind carefully, and you hear her kind of shuffle. You look over your shoulder and look, and you see that she's actually pulled a part of her, she's got a thick enough coat that she kind of pulls it up over her mouth a little bit and is covering her mouth, because you're noticing that as soon as you're in there, it's really hard to breathe. As you're breathing in, it feels like you're breathing in sand almost. There's spores and things floating in the air that you're breathing through. But she's kind of pulled that up over her mouth so that she's not breathing it in quite as much.
Ew.
Yep. So what are you doing?
Do I still have my torch on?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got to reveal more of this for you here. You can actually see a bunch of it anyway, even without the torch, because so much of it is glowing in this greenish color. Okay, that might take a second to appear, but you can basically see just this massive cavern full of these giant puff balls that are about a foot across, these 5 foot tall mushrooms, just tons and tons of it, of these different various types of fungus, and then, like I said, those footprints that only go a little ways in, but you see that where you stopped is where the end of those bootprints were, and going any further in, the place is thick, like it's almost like a fog of these spores that are floating through the air, and you're having to cover your mouth just to breathe.
Alright, then we should probably get through this as fast as we can.
Mm-hmm.
It does look like there's a tunnel to the north there where the glowing seems to stop.
Alright, so I guess make our way up this way.
Okay.
Sure.
There's going to be a few as you're moving your way through here. We're going to roll first, actually. Roll a dex check, I guess.
No, that's
No,
safe.
you're right. Sorry.
Yeah, left side.
What am I doing?
Dang.
Yeah, buddy.
Dang it.
So you're kind of moving yourself carefully through it, and Wester, as soon as you kind of get a few steps in off of the path that was already there of the bootprints, you kind of look over your shoulder to make sure that Drost and Alice are behind you, and end up brushing your shoulder against one of those massive puff balls that are a foot across and almost shoulder height on these stalks. Your shoulder brushes it and it just bursts and instantly throws just a cloud of these spores up that is straight in your face now. So because you look over as soon as the sound of it popping goes off, and you breathe in a ton of these. Roll a con save. You choke, and the coughing sounds, actually, you kind of go coughing as much of this shit out of your, where you breathed it in as you can. You end up getting most of it out, but you have just an awful taste in your mouth left from it, and you notice that the coughing sounds, it doesn't seem like maybe they were that loud, loud enough maybe to cause a reaction, but you've noticed that as you're coughing kind of violently, trying to get this stuff out, all of these spores out, you see the whole room. All of the fungus in there seems to react almost like it shrinks and then expands with every coughing sound that you make, like it's reacting to the sound.
Okay.
So you stand there kind of still and not moving for a second just to see if anything else is going to pop. It doesn't seem like anything else did, but you notice that those puff balls, even the slightest touch will set them off, and the other fungus in here seems to be reacting to sound that is not as loud as remember the booming waves happen every 2 minutes.
Alright, so you want to time our movement with the waves?
Mm-hmm. I was going to say.
Get up to that tunnel?
Because I don't know if we can make enough sound on our own. Like, if I clank my daggers together, does it move any spores except for just, right near me?
So you grab them and you bang them together, not loud, but just to see quiet sound and to see if it reacts. And there's the shelf fungus that are on the stalagmite that's nearest you. So you see that one that's just to the northeast of you a little bit.
Yeah.
The shelves, I don't know what to call them. They stick out of it rather than growing off of a stalk on their own, and they look like a shelf. Have you seen shelf fungus before? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, they grow all over the place up there. But anyway, those shrink and then expand again as soon as the sound is abated.
Okay. So, just the ones close. Alright. Now, we're surrounded by those things, or are they just on the pillars?
The shelf ones are sticking out of the stalagmites, so all the pillars. The spores, the puffballs, are all over the place, and they're growing at various heights. So some of them are, head height, some of them are chest height, some of them are down by your feet.
Okay.
And then there's
and none of those
across the whole floor.
And none of those moved while I hit my daggers together, right?
Not that you noticed. It seems like it was the shelves that mostly reacted.
Okay. And did those move when Wester coughed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we're just gonna wait, I guess, and see if we can. If they move, I'm assuming they will when the boom hits from the waves.
So you guys are
try to move when it does.
Okay, so the boom only lasts for probably 3 seconds of sound, let's say, where it's cacophonous and echoing through the cave. So you guys are you're gonna wait for that and then try to just run, or what? Okay. All right. So
yeah, or run, or jump, whatever it is, would get us moving the fastest during the 3 seconds.
Okay. All right. So you're kind of. You've been in here for almost a day now, because no shit, never mind. I'm sorry, it's 2 short rests. So you've been in here for probably 6 or 8 hours total. So still quite some time, a long enough time that every 2 minutes to hear that booming sound, you've kind of got an inner clockwork for it a little bit, and you are pretty sure it's about to happen. It's going to come up in a couple seconds. So you guys kind of prep yourselves, and you're all tensed and ready to run. And you've have quietly whispered this to Alice as well. And then the boom begins, and you hear the loud kind of slamming echo of it trying to roll through the whole place here. Both of you roll a dex check.
Damn.
Alice.
So you try to run, both of you, and as soon as you begin, Alice is just too nervous. Drost, you kind of made it as far as you could, and you get it about there, but Westra about here, and Alice barely made it anywhere before kind of tripping over herself just out of nervous anxiety, and tripping over herself. She lands flat on the ground. I'll roll it for Alice, but for Westra, roll a con save. So you don't trip over yourself really, but you kind of, as you're running through, you get distracted hearing Alice kind of collapse on her face into the fungus, and looking back over your shoulder again, same thing as last time. You end up bumping into one of the puffballs, and it explodes right next to you, and you kind of instinctively close your mouth this time, and you don't breathe it in, and you kind of just stand there, just not breathing for a second to try to let it settle. And it's taking it a second to settle. So while I'm dealing with Alice's, go ahead and roll another con save for holding your breath.
Damn.
That's enough. So I mean, you're athletic enough that you can hold your breath for a while anyway. You kind of just stare as these spores, as they kind of slowly begin to settle, looking back towards Alice. Are you going back towards her to help her, or what are you doing? She's laying flat on, she hasn't moved yet, so I'll give you a second to react. Are you going to try to help her, or is she letting her get up on her own?
Yeah, I'll go back and try to help her up.
Okay. Roll another dex check for going back towards her. That's fine. I mean, you're just kind of retracing your steps. You make it back over to her and help her up. She's, silently trying to stand up, and you can see that where she landed, she got a mouthful of spores, and there's kind of a slight green tinge to her, and she's looking like she's about to throw up, and which would of course make a ton of sound. Mechanically, she's poisoned, which means she'll have disadvantage on attacks and I think ability checks for a little while. Ability checks in this room are particularly concerning, of course, because that's what those things are. But I'll throw it on real quick. Hang on. Oops, wrong thing. She's roll that again. Yeah, okay, so she's barely okay and holding it down and not vomiting. But you're kind of standing there again. It's been 15 seconds since the last crashing wave. If you guys are going to move, you can do that. Otherwise, you'll be waiting for a bit before the waves crash again.
Yeah, we should probably get out of here. Before we try to help Alice too much.
So what are you doing?
Okay.
We're heading up for that tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you waiting for the waves? You're just going now.
Oh.
We're just gonna move, right?
Want to just what?
Are we gonna wait for the waves again, or are we just gonna move?
Should we probably wait for the waves?
Okay. Now, what is that going to give Alice enough time to get it back up on her feet and regroup?
Westra helped her back up, but she's choking and near vomiting from breathing in a bunch of these spores. So if you guys are waiting, which I mean that's what we're doing. You said it, so you're waiting. So she's trying to hold it down still. Doing a con check for that. She's at disadvantage, by the way, because she breathed these in and is considered poisoned right now. But she dropped a natural 20 and got a 17 on disadvantage. So she's still kind of holding it down, and she's starting to look like she's feeling, like she's going to be able to hold it. But she's still like choking, basically, just trying to hold her breath. So the time comes around. It's about time for it to go. You kind of tense yourselves up. Anything you want to do before? Are you preparing anything? Are you just getting ready to run as soon as the waves crash?
Just run.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So the waves come in. There's just a booming echo throughout the whole place. You notice that the shelves don't move during that booming time. They don't seem to react then. So roll on Drost a dex check.
That's crap.
You make it to about here, and then crash straight into, just trying to run through, crash straight into a puffball that explodes right next to you. Roll a con check. Con save.
Fair.
You inhale a ton of them, but don't stop. You basically bump it with your elbow and it explodes right in front of your face. You inhale a ton, but you're far enough out that you make it to here, which is as far as you could go. And now you're just outside of the edge of that tunnel. There's actually a little bit of light there from the green, so let me reveal that for you. I keep moving you with Alice's on accident instead of using the DM one. There we go. But that's about as far as you can see. There's just a very dim glow. You can see the beginnings of more skeletons and what looks like the side of a building. and you're
Okay.
over there choking. Roll a con save again. Okay, so you are not actually poisoned, but you can't do anything for the next 2 rounds while you're choking on this, trying to cough up all these spores that you breathed in. You can
Okay,
move,
so
you
what for
just
2
can't-
rounds you cut out?
So you can't do anything, meaning no actions for the next 2 rounds.
Okay.
You're not in combat, so it doesn't really matter. So you just we'll move you out of the room there, and you're just over there just coughing and coughing and coughing, making a ton of noise. Which, as long as if there's nothing there, it wouldn't matter, but we'll see. So for during that same echo, roll it for Westra, a dex check. You go rushing ahead and are able to make it 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You're able to make it here, which, you're just barely a few steps behind Drost where that puffball blows up. So go ahead and roll a con save for breathing in the puffball. You saw his shoulder brush it, and you knew it was going to happen because you've already blown up 2 of them. So you kind of covered your mouth was already covered because you were prepared for this. But you just basically close your eyes and you don't breathe it in. But you hear Alice cough again behind you, and has tripped over another. So she is going to. She just chokes it away, and she doesn't end up touching one, thankfully, and rushes through. She's still a ways behind. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's enough. So she catches up just behind you, and where you guys are at, you're close enough that if you just move slowly on the way out, you're able to kind of catch up to Drost, who's kind of choking on his hands and knees on the ground there. So you guys are out of the room.
Okay.
And now that your torch is over here, you can see into this tiny little chamber here. The room itself is actually lit up very, very faintly, only by you kind of look for the source of these, and you look up, and there's just tons and tons of itty bitty little glinting pieces of light in the ceiling. Let me find that room here. Just glittering minerals all over this large cavern that catch the light from your torch and send it back, creating the impression of almost like a starry night sky. There's just dozens and dozens of skeletons just crushed under fallen debris, just in piles all over the place, just covering this whole room in here. It's a decently large cavern. You can actually, the light goes, now that you have your torch in here, you can actually see a little bit further. Reveal that. It's a pretty big cavern, and what looks like 2 rooms inside of it. One directly to your right, and then one a little bit further in. There's a shelf ahead where a stone staircase leads up from, and on top of that is another skeleton up there, this one looking to be somebody of some kind of importance. As soon as you guys kind of make your way in, though, Drost kind of catches his breath finally and begins to stand up. You guys step your way further into the room?
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a room, a pretty badly beaten up room, like carved stone room on your right, and then one up on the shelf above, like up those staircases up there. But as soon as you come up the stairs a little bit, you see the corpse that's up at the landing right above the stairs.
I think that one.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah.
So that staircase that looks like it goes down, right?
Yeah. So it goes up, actually. So you guys are on the lower level, and those stairs go up, and then there's a corpse at the top. But as soon as you guys enter all the way, you see ghostly images of the last bulwark of these the dwarven garrison here, that are just gathered in tight rows with shields held high. Up above, on the escarpment above those stairs there, you see a ghostly mage throwing a magical assault after assault against the invading force. But as every ghostly orc falls, 2 or more leap over the body until they reach the dwarven phalanx and begin cutting through. The mage surveys the inevitable tide of death there. The situation's obviously helpless. He speaks, and you hear this kind of echoing, ethereal sound to it. He speaks some kind of incantation you don't recognize in sorrowed tones. The mage erupts in flames, burning his body away until only his skull remains floating above the battlefield, and then that skull fades to dust. You guys are back in the room, silent again. Pretty dark except for the glistening bits of mineral stuck in the walls there. Room on your right, and up the stairs it looks like there's another carved stone building that is the angles are too perfect to be natural.
You choose this
Where
one.
we- So there's a room directly to the right of us?
Yep,
Like
right next to you.
over there?
Yeah, that's one of the doorways in there.
Want to go check out that room first?
I'm gonna listen on the door. There's a door, right?
Yeah, it's pretty badly beaten up, but yeah, there is a door.
Can I hear anything if I listen at it?
Roll investigation. The door is pretty badly cracked. The iron hinges are partially melted. But I mean, it's still pretty solid. You don't hear anything coming from the other side of the door.
Slow. Does the door open or just break when I try to open it?
So you
I'm gonna
grab.
try to slowly open it if I can.
Okay, so you grab the doorknob to try to turn it, and it's like frozen solid. Like it feels like this door was melted shut almost.
What is that?
I have no idea.
But,
Oh, something that the dog had apparently in her mouth. Nobody knows what the hell it was.
You're disgusting. Go away.
Will the door? Can I force it open? Because this just doesn't open when I try to do the lock, right, or the knob.
Yeah, the doorknob doesn't turn, but it is still a door with old rusted hinges that just look like they're partially melted. So go ahead and roll a strength check. You need to beat a 15.
That's probably not gonna happen.
Well, if you can't, I can.
Hey, I'm a tough guy today.
Yeah, draws little wussy shoulders.
He's got it this
You
time.
need to do some
Got
overhand
leverage.
presses.
Yeah, for real.
So you kind of stand back a little bit because you just looked at the door and looked at the hinges and saw that where this thing looks like it's weakest, and you kind of just give it a couple foot running start and just bang your shoulder into it, and the door cracks through. There's this kind of sound of metal being torn apart, like bending and then giving, and the door swings open into just a completely just pitch black room, just covered in dust, ash, walls blackened by fire. Heaps of debris beneath the sagging ceiling. This room was damaged by a destructive blast of some kind. The furnishings, tables, chairs, bookshelves, beds, all charred and splintered, but otherwise well preserved. You see a scorched iron chest near the foot of one of the beds, but as soon as you crash the door open, a shimmering image of a ghostly Vabian mage. You met a Vabian mage before, actually. Cost. Remember the Cost?
Was he the Necro?
Yep, he was
The
a
necromancer
necromancer,
in the-
yeah,
yeah.
but the broken tower.
Okay.
But as soon as you've crashed the door open, this ghostly image of a Vabian mage steps in through the northern wall, and you see the kind of light that he's emanating, kind of filling up the room here, this kind of glowing blue light. And this is the first one that you've seen that seems to notice you. All the other ghosts that you've seen in here so far have not seemed to recognize. These seem to be just memories of time. Whereas this one definitely immediately looks at you, stares straight through your eyes with a long dead anger. He yells, "Leave this place, there's nothing for you here." And the spectral mage kind of raises a hand in your direction.
Okay.
This is what it looks like.
Well then,
What do you do?
okay. I'm going to. Sorry, I'm lagging here. I'm gonna move away from the door. I don't want him to blast me, so I go back over here. And then I'm going to say, we're just here looking for a friend's brothers. Not here to try to invade your home.
You hear what sounds like a deep sigh, almost like a relaxation of energy, for lack of a better term. And
I know what you mean. Yeah.
and he kind of the image floats over in front of the door in front of you. The hateful eyes slowly close. His head and his hands lower in a cripplingly sorrowful movement, displaying unimaginable exhaustion. He says, "So tired, so alone."
How long have you been here waiting?
We've lost track of time. It's been too long. We don't remember anymore.
Were you guys killed by the orc invaders?
Yeah, we gave our lives to defend this place for all eternity to prevent it from falling into incapable hands, but we didn't understand then just how long eternity was going to be.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're here for, because there's a man who's not exactly a good person trying to use the forge for not good purposes, and that's what we're here to try to prevent. So
He says,
I guess we have the same mission.
I mean, my cohorts and I have been trying to protect against them for some time now, and I could tell you weren't with them, which is why we're having this conversation.
Yeah, much appreciated. Didn't want to die today. So, all right.
He says,
No.
I sensed not long ago that one of my friends was killed yet again. Was that you guys?
Wasn't
What
any of
friend?
us.
Not unless it was the
Was that
burning
one of-
skull.
Was it the? Oh, okay.
He says, yeah. Well, to you, that's what he would look like, yeah. And you do. Both of you roll an int, just an int check, please.
False.
Wrong one. Damn it. Better than
So both of you, neither of you particularly remember, but Alice is just super intrigued by this and is like trying to peek over your guys' shoulders, trying to look in. Sees that she can't, so she comes around to the other side and tries to look through, where the door is cracked on the other side. She can't see over there, so she just comes in as close as she can behind you guys, trying to peek up over your shoulders. And she says, "You remember when we just came in this room just a second ago? We were looking up over the stairway there, and that mage kind of turned into a skull. I think that's him." Meaning the flaming skull.
Yeah.
And the specter in front of you says, yeah, that was him. That was Ariador, a friend of mine. We both died defending this place, but he introduces himself. He says, I'm Adasi. Seems you've met Ariador. Another friend of ours, Arthur Topol, was somewhere else here in these caves, and I know he's dead too, but he wasn't prepared for the attack, and hasn't stayed with us. He's been dead for some 500 years at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we apologize. We had no idea the skull was your friend.
It wasn't the first time. He's been killed over and over again, same as me. As long as one of the two of us are still alive, I can raise him again, or he me, if I were to die. But we keep just, any time that these invaders, this isn't the first invasion we've had, but every time invaders come through, we, raise up as many of them as we can to keep defending the forge, to keep it from falling into the incapable hands, as I mentioned. But thankfully, we were able to have this conversation instead of fighting. I was really concerned because this could have been, if you were capable enough to kill Ariador, that's no easy thing to do. If you were capable enough of killing him and you had killed me, that would have been the end of this place.
Well, we can bring his fire back to you if it helps you to bring him back again.
You're gonna have to dig his skull out of the water.
Yeah, I have to jump down in there and go swimming. But
the trench that you put him in isn't that deep. It's really only a few feet deep, just enough to be able to power that water wheel. So he's not super far in there as long as the bucket stayed still. But anyway, he says, I don't even need to be there to do it. It's kind of the magic of this place, that we can just keep raising the dead over and over again. You may have seen, a few of the zombies that were protecting the spot where you killed the Ariador. And every time, we have invaders come through and they die to either some of the dwarves that used to defend us here, or myself or Ariador. We raise them up too, and they just join us until there's not enough of them left after they've been too badly beaten and destroyed and limbs taken off and everything, until they're of no use, and then we just leave them be. He says, so what are your guys' purposes here then? If you're not here specifically for trying to take the forge like the other invader is, what are you here for?
we're looking for one other person. We found one. A friend's brothers were missing.
No, doesn't he have 2 more brothers?
I thought, did he have 3 brothers or 2?
2.
2.
Yeah, it's Gundren,
So-
Gundren plus 2 brothers, and you found one of them already that was already dead.
Yeah. So we're here looking for a friend's brother. We 2. We found one already. We're still trying to find information or clues about another one here. So
Well, I mean, I can't say. I know everything that goes on in this mine, really, and I can't say that there are anyone else alive in here except for you three and the other invaders. So, I mean, it's possible that the friend that you're looking for is with those invaders, you know, as a captive or something, possibly. But he's not. He's not anywhere else in the mine.
And the invaders are, I'm guessing, to the north of us?
He kind of stands still for a second, and then you see his ghostly fingers point out towards the northwest. He points over your shoulders up to your left, and which would be the northwest.
Okay. Tell him thank you. And then we're going to go try to...
So then probably that way.
Okay.
I'm assuming. Because we're over here, so...
Before you guys, you know, finish this conversation, Alice is looking over. She says, what about those names? I mean, we heard some names, like maybe he knows who those people are.
Oh.
She's like giddy with this, because this guy is obviously, you know, someone of extreme magical capability, which is interest enough, but also that he's been dead for a very long time is very interesting to her. And, well, that he's been dead a long time and doesn't seem to be threatening is of extreme interest to her.
Right, so
Those really goofy names that...
Yeah, so it was like Samurai.
Yeah.
And what is that? Gorzaval and oh god, this one.
Pinkatarian or whatever the fuck that was. Yeah. Pinkatarian. That's big. That won the next game. The big guy named Pinkatarian.
So as you're kind of saying these names, as soon as you say Samurog first, he kind of looks up towards you. He says, "Yeah, that's him. That's the invader." He says, "I didn't see him as he was hiding in the shadows and sent his forces ahead instead, but he tried to bargain with me, and I sensed his deceit, so don't trust him. Samurog is not what he says he is. His motivations cannot be trusted. He also, the larger threat was less him in that he didn't try to attack us, but he did send this massive fiend that spit this webbing material that you know, our forces really couldn't work their way through. And if he'd kept it up, he probably could have pushed his way through all of them and gotten back to the forge." When you say he doesn't react to Gorsaval, he doesn't seem to recognize or know that name. But when you said the other one, Koroziksi, he says, "Oh," and there's like it's a very weird experience seeing a 500-year-old foreigner, because remember he's Vabian anyway. He's not from this region, or wouldn't have been even back then. But you know, hearing a 500-year-old ghost laugh or chuckle, but he chuckles at that, and he says, "Yeah." Koroziksi is just an employee. We hired him, you know, centuries and centuries ago to guard the forge. He was only supposed to be employed for 101 years, but thankfully somewhere in there he lost his mind. There was another invasion a long time ago, you know, long before you guys were ever alive. And in that attack, he lost his mind, and he's kind of crazy now. But thankfully, he thinks the forge is still active. He can't really recollect time anymore, so he believes his 101-year contract is still ongoing, but he's the one that's actually up there defending the forge right now.
Well, all right. Thank you very much for the information.
He says, before you go, our goal here is... It sounds like, and I'm hesitant to say this, but it sounds like our goals are the same. There will certainly be a very dangerous beast that you would have to make your way through to get this Samurog to leave. And it is in our best interest to help with that as best we can. I don't know that it's safe for me to send a significant amount of our forces in case you were to, you know, attempt to betray us. But, you know, I can certainly attempt to do so. Roll, whoever wants to be trying to have this conversation, whoever's talking to him, I guess, roll a persuasion.
I guess it'd be you.
I was.
You're the one doing
Because
most of the
that's
talking.
what I said that I did, is I moved away from it. And I started talking. So.
Oh, the names he gave you, by the way. That's him. He told you Ariador, who was the Flame Skull. And he mentioned Arthur Topol. In fact, roll who talked to Cost? Do you guys remember?
I think we both did.
All right, then both of you roll an intelligence check. It's going to be for memory to see if you guys remember the part of the conversation.
I think we did.
The name Arthentopal sounds vaguely familiar to both of you, but you're really not sure why. But as far as the conversation with Adasi, though, he says, "I'm not comfortable sending too many with you, but if you would return the Riador to me while I'm bringing him back, then he's still mindless. There really isn't much to him. Unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of conversation in the last couple hundred years since Koroziksi went insane and Riador's mind was gone. If you could bring him back, I'll send 3 of the zombies over with you. The dwarven guards. They're long dead. They're not much use, but at least they would be something."
We appreciate that, and we will definitely bring it back to you.
Okay. All right. So mechanically, then we can hand wave that portion of it that you're going to go retrieve him.
Yeah, and I'm assuming he's still in the bucket. If not, I'll grab his fire and put him back in the, scoop the fire up and put him in the bucket and bring it back to Adasi.
All right. So he actually waves and directs you to go through the northern tunnel because you're already kind of there, and he says,
Okay.
I'll instruct them to let you pass. And you make your way up through the northern part there. Drost, or Westra, and Alice just staying.
Yeah. Okay.
She's still super intrigued by him anyway, and is trying to make small talk with a ghost. How's the weather, that kind of thing, just stuff that doesn't exactly fit. So Drost, you make your way up there. The bucket is still there. It's just sitting in the bottom of this thing. The water doesn't move super fast through that channel. It's just kind of a slow, steady pressure to roll the water wheel there. But you grab it and make your way back. Hand this kind of bucket of skull fragments to Adasi. He reaches his hand out and then kind of shakes his head and says, "Could you just set it on the table over there, please?"
Yeah.
He can't grab the bucket.
Yeah.
So you set it on the table for him. He says, "You know what? There will be something of more use to you up there in the forge. I mean, we can't use them at all. They wouldn't do us any good. So if you would just step up there, be careful. When you pass the forge, you didn't hear any sounds coming from in there. But he says, be careful in that Koroziksi is unpredictable. But I mean, I'll instruct him to let you by and just go into the storage room there, and anything in there that would be of use to you, by all means, take it. Just get him out of here." He's referring to Samurog. Get him and his people out of here so that we can rest. It's been a long time, but we still it's painful to us to be awake this long.
All right. We will do it.
Okay. So you guys going to the forge is the other room that's up there at the top, which is, remember, that's what Gundren was here for. That's what Samurog has been after apparently too. But that's what Gundren originally told you about, was this forge. That's what you guys were kind of ever heard about way back before, was the forge. So you heading up there?
Yeah. Go to that storeroom.
Yeah, the forge is up here. The storeroom is off of that. So.
Okay.
To step your way back up the stairs again for the second time, kind of stepping your way over the body of Riador. Remember, the skull is missing. The skeletal image that was at the stair top there is the skull, the flaming skull that you had destroyed, the one that you just returned to him. But you come up to the door here, to the forge. You can see through it that whereas before it looked like it was just a solid wall. But now you can see where a large workshop, you can see straight through, like there's just no door there. It's just an open archway into a large workshop. the map doesn't depict this exactly as I'll be describing it, but it's close enough. But a large workshop just badly damaged by just the ancient battle that occurred here. And work tables that are taking up 2 corners of the room are scorched. The plaster has been burned off the masonry walls. In the middle of the room, a stone pedestal holds a small brazier with a green flame. But behind that is a fossilized lower mandible of what looks to be just a massive, incredibly massive lizard-like creature, probably a dragon, just the lower jaw of it, and which is surrounded by heavy black iron grates and massive bellows. That looks like that itself is the forge. Maybe the green thart is what they're using for a heat source or something to that effect. But in there, floating inside of that room, is a huge glowing, a green-skinned glowing spherical object, spherical creature measuring roughly 4 feet in diameter, with 4 massive eye stalks that protrude from its central mass, 2 on each side. In the center of the body is a massive large eye staring at you in a big toothy maw. As soon as you kind of walk up and he can see that you can now see him, whereas before you walked right by him and the wall, it was just a wall before, and now it's an opening. It just says very politely, it says hello in a thick burbling voice inside your head.
So that's the older, isn't it?
That would be...
I mean, Drost Wester wouldn't know.
Yeah, but...
It is a kind of beholder, like outside of game. It's a kind of beholder called a spectator.
Okay.
But this is apparently Korozixi. But he gave you a very polite hello. So what are you doing?
Tell him that... Is this the storeroom? No, this is where the forge is.
This is the forge.
Storeroom's up there, okay. Tell him that, tell him hello, that Adasi sent us to go to the storeroom and see if there's anything in value, or of value in there for us. We're going to try to get rid of, that was his name, Samor?
Samorog.
Samorog, sorry. I can't remember anything.
He says, well, I mean, not to be rude, but of course there's things of value in here. That's why they're here. That doesn't mean you can have them.
Okay, well, Adasi told us to come see if there's anything that can help us in the fight.
What fight?
The fight against Samorog to get him out of here.
To protect the forge.
Who's Samorog?
The invader. That's what he called him.
Yeah, the invader.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm just trying to get my work done. You can't come in here. They told me to protect this place. That's what I'm doing.
Well, I don't think we really need to fuck with this thing, so we might just want to move on. Do we have to go through there? Or anything?
Well, I'm sure there's tons of stuff in that storeroom. Be
You can-
great
you can
against
remember-
whatever.
So, okay, you're trying to talk through, which is exactly what the social skills are for. So tell me what you're trying to do. You tell me the verbiage of what you're trying to persuade, for example, and then you can roll a persuasion check, and we'll see how that works out. So
Okay.
What that would be is that would be a contest in that it would be his insight against your, say if you're trying to lie to him, then it would be against your deception. Now, you weren't trying to lie. You're trying to tell him exactly the truth. He's just crazy, so to him, that's still a lie. You understand? So in this case, it would still be persuasion for you because you're still telling the truth, but he, may or may not believe you because he's insane.
Yeah, so I'm just going to tell him that, again, we're trying to protect the forge against an invader, so persuasion?
Yeah.
Okay.
And roll it in the tower since it's you wouldn't know whether or not, it was believable. He says, so who was it that sent you?
Samorog.
No,
No, Adasi sent us. God damn it.
The bad guy said.
No, who sent us? Who were we going against? Yeah.
Um,
Adasi had sent us.
Adasi is an assistant manager. I can't take the award of an assistant manager.
Alright, well. Yeah, he had told us to come. You gotta think of something. I can't think of anything to fucking say.
Well, then who's the manager?
Well, a Riotor. I mean, if you're in here, you should know that. Who are you guys again?
Do we still have Riotors Essence? No, we left it with Adasi,
No.
didn't we?
Yeah, Dossie has it. He's trying to
Okay.
bring him back.
I'm starting to get a little worried here that you guys aren't who you say you are. Who are you again?
We're here to help protect the forge and get rid of the invader.
What
We
invader?
work for Adasi.
He's talking in circles. He's already forgetting what you guys have started the conversation with. Roll one more persuasion. He kind of sighs. He says, all right, look, I'm going to let you guys in here, but if you get me in trouble, I'm going to be really, really mad, and I'm not the kind of guy you want to have mad at you. You see these? And he holds his eye beams out towards you, or his eye stalks rather out towards you, and he kind of aims up a little bit, and he goes pew, 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 and he fires them off one by one like little cap guns. And he holds them up, and you guys kind of shrink away a little bit, expecting some display of force, and instead, just with his mouth, he goes pew, 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 and that's it. There's nothing comes out, nothing happens. He just makes pop gun sounds with his mouth. He says, "Look, I'm pretty dangerous. I don't like to step on toes, but I mean, they put me here for a reason. Like, I'm tough, okay?"
Tell him
Understood.
we don't want to find out the hard way, so we're going to believe you, and we're just going to be in and out. No one's going to ever know that you let us in here.
All
We'll
right.
be out of your hair.
All right. Well, you guys just make it quick.
Thank you.
And he kind of he floats his way out of the way. He's now facing away. You get the impression that he has a very short memory. So just do with that what you will. Alice stays out.
Yeah.
We should probably hurry up then and get in there.
Yeah. Come on, Andy.
No, whoops,
Okay.
I just landed on top of you.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that room there. Let's see. It's just a small separate workspace. It looks like they were using it as a storage room, though. It looks like this is where items were being prepared for going into the forge. There are, all kinds of just old, rusted, we're talking 500 plus years of, age on them. But this is the kind of room where they would polish them and lacquer and that kind of thing. It's mostly destroyed just from age and the original attack. You do see a couple of things that don't look to have been aged, though. There's three. One of them is certainly the least interesting, but still catches your eye. It's actually just a plain die, except it's shiny and gold. It's a D6, just a plain square cube of a dice with little bright little pips on it. It's not gold rather, but some like a brass maybe. It definitely has a metallic reflection to it. There is a very certainly well made and somewhat evil looking, for lack of a better term. Very sharp, has a little serrated section on the base near the handle, near the crest of it, but just a knife, like a decent size, probably, let's say 16, maybe 18 inches in length of the blade. That looks certainly very valuable and extremely well made and probably special in one way or another. And then a decent sized shield, like a good sized shield, a heater style shield. The face, the bust of it is blank, but around the outside of the edge of it, around the kind of triangular shape to it, is just a series of thoracic runes, the old dwarven Undermountain language of Thordic runes just around the edges. Those are the only three things that look to be not covered in dust and age.
Okay. I'll grab the knife. I'm assuming you'll grab the shield.
Yeah, grab the
And then put the
die.
dice in the bag. What do you think?
Yeah, because we can always study it, and if we need to, we can give it to Alice.
Yeah.
Might help her or something.
Okay, you throwing all three things in the bag, or are you trying to use them?
Blasters. I'm gonna keep the knife on me.
Okay.
And then, Blaster can do whatever you want to with the shield. She'll grab that. I'll put the dice in the bag.
I'll put my normal shield in the bag and use the other one, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. Well, remember we need to have a chance to check him out before we fuck with him too much too. So. careful about that.
All right. Give me just a second here.
All right. Yeah, okay, second, be right back.
Okay.
What? Yes, please.
Do me a favor. Go to your inventory on Westra.
Come on. Okay.
Look for... It should be at the very bottom, the very last thing. Tell me what it says.
There's a fine shield and a heat.
Okay, with the fine shields on fire, I just moved the heater shield away to your money bag for now. I'm just gonna... Yeah, we'll leave it there for now. Alright, so the fine shield, hit the little button and tell me what it says.
The little, like...
The gray button to the far right. The
Yeah,
little button that gives you info.
Quality of craftsmanship on the shield is well above average. Several ruins decorate the outside of the surface.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't identified. Does it say? What does it say at the very top? The title part of the page.
Fine shield.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Almost done. Give me 1 sec. Whoops. Let's see, I gotta make sure that this... Yep, cool, right. So, short sword, though. Alright, both of those are in there. The dice are just throwing in your bag. G?
Oh, I'm sorry, you cut out there. If you were asking, yeah, the dice in my help sack in the bag.
Yeah, you cut out just a little bit there, too, so your guys' internet might be hiccuping.
Okay.
Alright, so it has been... You were quick about it. If you're leaving now, are you... Well, I guess, are you guys walking out right now, or are you looking around more, or what?
Yeah.
We need to get out of here, yeah. Back out of the forge room.
Okay. So you guys, as soon as you step out of the room, he looks over at you guys, kind of stops still in his tracks, like he was surprised that you're there. He says, "Hello, who are you?"
Just finishing up some business, and we'll be right out of your way.
Roll a persuasion on whoever. I guess Dross said that, right? So roll a persuasion. My dogs are being nice and quiet today.
Yeah, I haven't heard them fight yet.
Harold's been sleeping. Esther's just politely chewing on toys, being quiet. And now she's bugging me wanting to go out. Okay. Yeah, with that, so you step out. Westward already stepped out, but you kind of step your head around it and say, we're just finishing some business. He says, "Okay, well, thanks. Come again."
Say thank you, and we will leave.
Okay.
Good. Do you want me to move you?
Please.
Okay. Back over here.
Right. And this is the first time Wester's really noticed him, but basically that whole tunnel directly ahead of you, you're just seeing the backs of 40 or 50 zombies, just right at the backs of their heads, just sitting there kind of slowly swaying in place. That whole tunnel and then all of the northern space there. You can actually, just peeking around the corner, you see stairs going down up to the northeast up there. I'll just reveal that part too. And the wave, the echoing sounds are coming from there. Like that's where the source of them is loudest.
Okay.
So what are you guys doing?
I'm guessing head that way. What do you think?
I didn't hear you said what.
Head towards the, what he just said, the sound, where the sound's coming from?
Where the waves are coming from?
Yeah. Should we head there? Because we need to go find, what's his face, don't we?
Yeah, but I thought he said he was in the northwest, so would that be that way?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the map. I didn't realize what area he was talking about. Would I have a
so-
second to look
There's
over that
one
dagger, or
tunnel.
would that take too long?
You would need to do it during a short rest.
Okay.
Short or long rest. I mean, you guys could, you know, theoretically, doesn't mean you'd be safe throughout it, but you could try taking a long rest inside a place like this if you needed to also. Just remember that could be very dangerous. So, you've taken 2 short rests already in here, and you can generally, most days, are 1 long rest and 2 short rests. You can't technically benefit from more than 1 long rest per day. You can technically take more than 1 short rest. It's just, you know, I would dissuade you from going too much further. But I mean, if you guys wanted to go, I mean, you're not too badly beat up. If you just wanted to, you know what? Here's what I would allow. Instead of you taking an actual rest, if you just wanted to take an hour to look over the knife and the shield or whatever, you can do that. But you wouldn't get the benefits of a rest. How's that sound?
Okay.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you? I mean, this room is safe as far as you guys can tell. The path to the north is chocked full of zombies, and no way anybody's getting through that. Like both sides, there's no way anybody's getting through that, and they're friendly to you, at least presumably at the moment. The spectator core Zeke seems to be ignoring you and just kind of flying in circles and making sounds to himself, like he's trying to hum a song but doesn't know how to hum maybe. And the Adopsy to the south, you know, that plus the fungal room, it doesn't seem like anybody's getting in here. So this room will probably be safe for you if that's what you want to try.
Okay, do you want to... Yeah, let's give that a try then. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, then, so you guys sit down. There's a couple of wooden, not wooden, rather, broken stone shelves all over the place in here where this, was when it was an active, workshop essentially with this forge. So you kind of sit down, you pull the knife out and look it over. Go ahead and roll an Arcana check on it.
All right.
If you're up, then Wester can do hers first if you want.
I can get it right now.
Okay. Looking it over, you get the style from this, the design really. It's not something you've ever actually seen before, but you have heard of this style of weapon before. Basically, how it works is this: if you hit a particularly vital artery, let's say, it does a huge amount of extra damage, and then you tend to feel a little bit more vigorous after that hit. Like maybe there's just something in it, in the enchantment, that if you make a particularly heavy critical on something, that you feel stronger just from the excitement of it. Mechanically, what it is, I'll go ahead and identify it for you, is when you attack a creature with this weapon, if you roll a 20 on the attack roll, the target takes an extra 3d6 necrotic damage, provided that the target is an undead or a construct, and then you gain that as temporary hit points. You gain that amount of the extra damage as temporary hit points.
Sweet.
That only happens on a 20, but it's still otherwise, a useful knife as it is, and it's magical too, whereas your other ones are not.
Good, I need that.
And Westra, looking over the shield.
Yeah. So, Arcana?
Yeah. So you sit down and you've got this big shield kind of covering your lap, and it's bigger than your lap. It still fits in your arm just fine, but I mean it was a much larger shield on a dwarf than it is for a human, but still a very good size. You kind of trace your fingers over the runes around the outside of it, trying to figure it out. The styling of this is very complicated, and you're not quite sure exactly how it would work, but as you're spending your time looking at this, you get the strangest feeling, and this is, in a day full of very strange feelings where you're seeing ghosts and talking to this flying orb. and killing skulls and things like that. Still a very strange day, and yet this feeling is still even more so. But you get the feeling that you kind of want to tell this shield about some fights that you've had. Like you want to talk to this shield and tell it about some times that you fought a bugbear, or a time that you fought that skull, or a time that you cut a grick in half, that worm thing that you guys killed an Agar moth, things like that. You just want to tell the shield about those things.
Okay. Do I have time to tell it anything and like see what happens?
It wouldn't hurt. I mean, you're already sitting there kind of in the corner,
Cool.
kind of running your fingers over this thing anyway, so if you want to talk to your shield, you go right ahead.
Alright, well, I guess I'll...
Well, we tell about what we just did in here. The
Yeah.
bugbear and the 3 bugbears in the skull. Because
Yeah.
they were hitting with morning stars, the bugbears were, and the skull was shooting. I'm assuming one of them was like mechanically it was a fireball. I'm guessing the area of effect that it shot at me, right? And then it was probably the same thing that Alice does, that direct damage, one target fire damage that it tried to shoot at Westra, right?
Yeah,
I'm just trying to guess as what it would be mechanically, but
take that from her. She can't... No,
Oh,
the mouse.
cat toy.
She can't have that.
So is that what the skull was doing, G?
You're not on the right track, but I mean, it's not something you could know how this thing would work until.
So it's
different.
different kind of. Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, well,
what do
you
you
could
two
at
got?
least tell it that. Well, honey, you could tell it at least that
Yeah,
it tried to
yeah.
shoot fire at us. Well, what looked like fire, right?
Yeah, well, and it was, what, green?
Yeah, it was a green
It's a
floating
green
skull.
fire?
So you're going to tell it about your fight with the skull?
Yeah, and the bugbears.
Okay.
Ow.
Yeah, you said they had morning stars, right?
Yeah, they were
Okay.
all with morning stars, and they both had, or all 3 of them had a javelin on their back too. They just didn't use them, just in a strap on their back. But you sit there kind of awkwardly in the corner. This feels a little bit strange to be talking to your shield, of course. But as you're kind of running your fingers over the runes on it and explaining this story about fighting this skull, you tell it about how you come around the corner and it had sent this fireball around there, and you kind of held your shield up to protect yourself from the fire, and then you came through and just started swinging your axe at it, and you knock it down, and you knocked it up in the air, and then you knocked it down again, and then the skull shattered on the ground. Kind of going over all the details of this fight. Roll a persuasion check.
And tell it about how my daggers didn't do much damage to it. It needs to know about that.
Okay, so you finish telling this whole story to it, and the shield kind of glows just slightly for a brief second, and then you see this emblazoned image appear on the front. Remember, the front was bare, it was plain, except for the runic symbols around the outside. But those runes kind of glow for a second, and then the shield slowly begins to etch this picture of you with your swinging your axe down onto this skull. And you see basically yourself, just an image of yourself swinging your axe down, and this skull kind of shattering on the ground in front of you. It's kind of a relief picture of this, like you might see in an old cave painting, or maybe an old Greek art, on a vase or something. It's not very detailed, but there's a little bit of styling to it. And you can definitely tell that it's your fight with this skull that you just described to it. Mechanically, how the shield works is you can talk to it anytime you want to, and if you can tell it a story about a fight that you had. If you tell it the truth, the DC will be a little bit lower, and you'll need to persuade it that this actually happened, meaning you need to give it proper details of the fight that had happened. If you tell the truth and it believes you, it will from then on give you, from that particular situation, I'll explain that in a second, you'll have an extra bonus to your AC as long as you're fighting that same creature. So if you tell it about a time you fought bugbears, and it believes you, then it will draw a picture of the battle that you're describing with the bugbear on the front of it, and then you would have a bonus to your AC from bugbears. What you just told it, presumably you would have a bonus to fighting flame skulls to your AC.
But then if you tell it another story, it forgets the old story, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
you only have one story
It
at a
can
time.
only have one image on the front of it at any given time. Now, you can lie to it too, and if you lie to it, it may believe you. The DC will be a little bit higher, not dramatically. I mean, you can lie to it, and as long as your lie is believable, then I'll adjust the DC, less or above. But you can lie to the shield and tell it this whole battle that you had that you never did, And if it believes you, same thing. It will apply it on there, and it'll still have the same benefits. If you lie to it too much, it might not believe you for a little while. So the DCs might be harder for a little while until you've kind of earned its trust back. But that's how it works.
And how far back of fights can we tell it?
That doesn't matter.
Okay.
As long as,
we actually.
Yeah, I mean, if it actually
so as long as we remember it.
Yeah, as long as it actually happened, then it'll be persuasion. If it didn't happen, then it'll be deception.
Okay. Just tell it about the time that we got in a fight with every creature from the entire, universe at one time,
All at
and
once.
they all tried to attack us at one time, and we defended against it somehow and made it out, and then just never tell another story ever again.
So it'll still work as a regular heater shield for you anyway, so you'll have the other effect on there too, but I'm going to go ahead and put a second one on there that, again, if it believes you, and it's called the Bastion of Deeds is what it's called. I'll update it in your inventory here in a second. But anyway, you'll have a bonus 2 AC, bonus 2, meaning so you'd have a total of 4 extra AC for a maximum AC of 20 if it believes you.
Okay.
So you'll now see in there too.
That's good though.
You'll have just plain shield, and if it believes you, you can put up the second bonus to it also. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions on how that works?
Not that I can think of. It only works with one creature at a time, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, maybe we can go get some more information about that feat, and then I could try to make up a story.
Do you want to try to lie to it?
See
Okay.
if it works. I mean, because I'm assuming that's going to be extremely tough to fight, so...
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a giant fucking spider of some kind.
That's what I would think, considering there's spider silk
But that
all over.
was Ketis and Navarra that fought that patchwork spider, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or maybe that was just me
It was
before
just-
you
it
even
was
joined
just
me.
Ketis,
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't remember spider.
Okay, because I was going to say, I know. Yeah, so I guess that wouldn't work. So it's going to have to be a... Get your deception ready, Annie. See if you do it if you want to. It's up to you.
Because I'm assuming we're not going to have to fight the flaming skull again.
Yeah. Well, you never know how many other stupid bugbears are running around here. Probably working for the Black Spider, so... That could be an honest tale.
In fact, roll... I'm assuming that you guys are having this conversation largely in character. Please practice that as much as you guys can. Try talking in character. You've done it a couple times on accident in this session, but you've done it a few times, or well, one major time at least before. That is huge. It's so important, especially for any interpersonal growth for your characters. So try. But I'm kind of translating this in that you guys were having this conversation back and forth largely in character, so narrating whatever, or adjusting whatever verbiage was needed for that. And for that, at least, both of you roll an intelligence check for just kind of remembering what you've come across in here so far.
That was intelligence?
Yep. Alice is kind of sitting in the corner going, I didn't get nothing, kicking a skull.
We need to give her the dice.
Oh, yeah. Damn it, she could have looked at that while we were sitting here. I didn't think about that.
I was totally kidding, but...
She could have, actually. I didn't even think about that. She could have investigated the dice while we were sitting here.
It's not going to be mechanically useful for you at the moment, at least anyway. I was just kidding.
Okay.
I was just, for her, you guys are both sitting there, one of you talking to a shield, and the other, running your hand lovingly over a fucking evil-looking dagger. So.
Yeah, well, we gave her that wand last time, so.
No, she's fine. I was just kidding.
Did we give her the wand?
Yeah. Yeah, we gave her a staff. No, well, glass staff. But did we give her that wand? One of the wands that we found? I'm pretty sure we did.
We found a new wand, didn't we? We found a wand and some rings. Ow!
Okay, yeah, that wand that you found. Okay, that. Roll one more intelligence check for that. The two that you just rolled, by the way, were supposed to be if you'd remembered how many of these other creatures you might have seen in here that didn't look like they belonged in this place, and neither of you particularly remember the details. And you don't remember that either. You guys are rolling some really shit rolls. Actually, for that though, Westroad does remember. The wand, as you guys are kind of having this conversation and thinking about it, the wand and the rings that you found, that was probably Arthur Topol. Remember, he had described his friend Ariador, who was the skull, and he was the Adasi was also in here. But he had said that he had a friend Arthur Topol that was somewhere here in these mines that he has not seen. who was not prepared basically for the attack and probably just died and therefore was not able to come back and help defend the place. But you did see that mage that was shot in the stomach and then the chest and then the throat, and then spun around and then kind of stumbled over and then collapsed into the water. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and that's where you got that wand and those rings.
All right. Do you want to give the wand to Alice then?
I thought we already did, but yeah, that's fine.
You know, we gave her something else while we
Okay,
were
well,
at
the wand
Rados.
was the wand of magic missile, so she already do you think she would really need that? One of us might be able to benefit more from that if we remember to use it at least. Because she already has
yeah, she's got things better than that.
Ranged attacks.
Yeah.
So
Can you guys hear me?
you kind of cut out a little bit.
Okay, all right. I think the network might have been acting up. Yeah, she, as you guys are even talking about this, she's like, yeah, no, that wand is really beneath my capabilities.
So I'm actually decent at throwing daggers, so you might want it, honey, because it would be. I'm assuming it's a ranged attack because it's cast magic missile. I'm assuming, right, G?
Yeah.
Okay, which is a ranged spell, so direct damage, right, G?
Yep.
Yeah. So if you want it, honey, because I mean, it's probably might be better than your crossbow, because I'm pretty good with my throwing daggers. So
Alice kind of pipes up there and she says, well, I mean, how it's a little bit more complicated than that, but basically how it works is this: I don't really, magic missile is kind of the thing that novice, mages learn, and to be fair, I never really learned in an organized environment anyway, so, maybe it can be better than this, but at least as how I always understood it, is you kind of just, well, I mean, this wouldn't make sense to you guys because you don't really use magic, but basically you send out these little balls of force, and they're like heat-seeking. They'll hit the target, and then they explode, and that's that. They don't hurt very much, but they always hit.
okay.
Give it a try.
Yeah, might be another good ranged attack for you, honey. You want to carry that?
Okay. And what was it?
Wand of magic missile.
Thank. Go
Probably still have it here in the inventory. Yep, I do. All right, I'll drop it on you. All right, so you take that out of the bag of holding and pass it over to her.
Yeah.
Where did I do it? Oh, that sucks. Okay. I'm just going to drop this actual spell on there for her. It has 7 charges in it currently. Alice kind of looking over it says, yeah, this looks like it's still pretty full.
Nice.
Plus, I mean, the ghostly image you saw, the guy didn't get any charges of it off before they had shot him and killed him. All right. It is now on your sheet for you.
Okay.
Okay, what are you guys doing?
All right. Lead on, honey. Because are we going after Magutsa now? Richie Sambor or whatever the fuck his name was.
Samurai.
Yeah.
Let's see, as far as where you guys are at right now, how's your guys' health looking? You're still a little bit beat up on Frost.
Yeah.
Wester's fine. Wait, 19? It shouldn't be a 19.
I thought I was at 15 damage.
Not you, no, sorry, I was looking at Wester's AC.
Okay. Wouldn't she have 18 AC? Unless that new shield had extra AC.
It does if she tells it a story, but by
okay.
Default, it's
well, she told it that story,
yeah.
So I don't know if that.
I fixed it. It's good now.
Okay.
Right. So what are you guys doing? Basically, you're in this room here. There are just crowds full of zombies filling in all, little short dwarven zombies with a couple of bugbears that look like they're missing a limb or two. Kind of just, bugbears obviously stand out pretty heavily since they're twice the height of the dwarves. But basically, the whole northern end of this room is just full of them.
Okay.
You waded through them before, and they just kind of parted and just let you through. since Adasi had given them instruction to do so. But you basically have, one tunnel directly to the left of you, and then one a little bit further to the northeast, where all the waves are coming from.
All right. Well, then I'm guessing we're going to go after the northeast, because the one up to the northwest just slightly is where we just would in the other room with the flying skull. So, right through those, all the zombies right there.
West of you is just where the flying skull is. Yes.
Yeah. So then I guess we'll go up to the northeast tunnel, the eastern tunnel.
Okay.
You
What
want
do
to
you think?
go that way?
Yeah. What do you think,
Favor
Fitz?
move Alice.
Yeah.
Bring her up with you guys. Okay. And you got your torch.
Yeah. So I should probably be in front. Here.
All right.
Alan. Between us.
So you see around this corner, as you kind of peek your head around, you see this is the just a massive, massive cavern where the waves are coming in. There's a narrow ledge overlooking a huge cavern that houses a surging, seething body of water. The rhythmic booming of that water is what you're hearing throughout the mines. It's just extremely loud here, and thankfully we're not here right now where the loud boom is going to occur. But you get the feeling that if it's this loud now, when that boom happens, it's going to be deafening. So you may want to cover your ears if it comes to that point. But at regular intervals, that freshwater surge funnels into this chamber and slams against the wall just below you. The echo suggests that this cave might be one arm of a much larger cavern. You also, from looking at it, you get the impression this is probably the other entrance that Gundren had spoken of, that you could have, if you wanted to come in via boat, that you could have come in through here.
Yes.
You see a couple of different smaller tunnels that come off of this, one being the channel that's closest to you, and that looks like it's the channel that probably feeds back to feed that water wheel that was feeding the bellows. And then one off to the northwest. That looks like it also goes to the channel that's probably the opposite end, because remember that was just one big loop. Reveal all of the northern part here. And then all of that looks like it just feeds out into another cavern that probably eventually goes back to the sea from what Gunton had described. And that is about it. Sorry, so there are two here. One of them is the kind of carved out channel that fed the channel for the bellows. The one in the northwest is not as carved. It looks almost like a natural cavern, but the water is not very deep, and it looks like the water isn't deep, and it looks like it's walkable. So you could probably, if you wanted to, walk through the water up this way, up in the northwest there.
Oh, you want to give it a try?
Yeah.
Can't forget to plug our ears, though.
And actually, that's about to come up. So I mean, you guys, I'm not going to make you roll for that. That's something you've been in here long enough that you know when those waves are coming, and you kind of just hold your ears for a second when you know it's about to pop up. But it's just a huge boom, and as soon as the waves smash against it, you are just immediately drenched in salt spray. So you're all three of you are just soaked. You were kind of already damp anyway, even after having been lit on fire by Alice. You've all been just from the moisture in the air this whole time, but yeah, you're just soaked now. So where are you guys going?
I guess so. This is the ledge?
That leads back to, if you zoom out a little bit, you can see it. That right there, if you just walk straight across that's only like a foot deep, so you could try to jump over it, but you could step into it if you needed to. Obviously, your boots would be soaked. But you could step across that without any difficulty. It's only a foot and a half deep.
Alright, so let's just step across it.
Okay. And you guys are making your way to the northeast? Or northwest, rather?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so you make your way over there. You see this passage is barely 4 feet high. It's not a lot of room. It's obstructed by rounded boulders and pebbles. There's a stream bed right there, but very little water is trickling through that spot. It looks like the dwarves had diverted the stream here probably obviously a long time ago to feed that water wheel. But it's still, there's just a little bit of water still feeding through, just not enough to be a serious problem. But you kind of make your way through to the top there. And well, yeah, we'll move you to the next room, really, because you're going through that tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like up this way.
Roll a stealth check, both of you. Oh shit, she's not still pulling. I'll take it off. Okay. There's so much noise coming through that you're pretty confident that you're not making, a lot of noise that would necessarily be audible. But as soon as you come up around the curve, I'm going to go ahead and move you up here. As soon as you get up to about there, you can hear voices coming from the other way, coming from the end of the end that you're heading into of the tunnel here.
Do you want to see if you can sneak up there? You're quieter than I am.
Okay.
And
Can I hear what
will-
they're saying for me?
Roll perception.
I'll step back just a little.
Yeah, there's so much echoing through this chamber here. These chambers are so rounded and smooth for the most part that you can make it out almost as if they were right next to you. You hear 3 voices, no, 4 voices, speaking in Ushak, which is the language of the tribes people like the bugbears and Goliaths and orcs and so on. 3 of them sound like they're native speakers, though, and that 4th one, that one that took you a second to pick up, the 3 sounded like deep, booming voices. You're certain these are bugbears. You've heard these people, these humanoids speaking a lot, especially lately. But the 4th, though, is clearly struggling to enunciate the harsh vowel sounds of the language. And the 4th one, the 3 are like grumbling and talking to each other in quiet voices. But the 4th one, the one that's struggling with the language, says, "Keep searching, you lazy firewood. Samurag's orders were to find the source of magic in this cavern." Roll an intelligence check on Drost. And Wester doesn't understand this language, so she's not getting a word of this. It just sounds like gibberish.
Okay.
So you're kind of standing there and puzzling over this a second. You don't understand why you would call them firewood. And then you kind of realize that the word firewood sounds very similar to bastards in Ushak. And it would be a common mistake to someone who was just learning the language. Like he called them firewood, but he meant to say bastards because he doesn't know the difference between the 2 words because they sound too similar.
Okay.
So one voice that is clearly not a native speaker is yelling at 3 bugbears to keep searching to find the source of magic in that cavern up ahead.
Alright. What do you think, honey? Back off just a little bit, assuming the bugbears are probably going to break off from the 4th voice?
The voices also, as far as distance, 2 of them sounded pretty close. 2 of the bugbears sounded pretty close. The 3rd sounded further away, and the 4th voice was very far away.
4th voice was far away?
Yeah.
Sorry, you cut out.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think, honey? Let's back up a few feet. We don't have much time. Back up a bit and see if we can catch, maybe back here or something, if we have enough time to get there, or back here or something.
They're not approaching.
Oh, they're not moving this way?
No, they weren't approaching at all. The sound, when I said that they sounded like they were right next to you, is just because of how much the sound is echoing. They're not coming this way. It sounds like they're working, like you're hearing them throwing stones around and things like that inside that other chamber up ahead.
Okay. Well, then
you
should
could
we wait a minute?
You could probably sneak up on them.
Okay. Should I wait a second before I start my moving that way, though, and see if the unfamiliar or the non-native voice person moves away, and maybe the possible farther away bugbear?
It's up to you.
Okay. If I look around here, can I see them from this angle, like peeking around that bend?
Kind of. So you can see, it looks like, hang on, let me reveal, because there's actually a little bit of light coming from in there. Not a ton, but there's It looks like they have a fire or maybe some torches or something. So reveal this much of it there. Peeking around the corner, you see what looks like a shoulder, maybe, of one of them that appears to be working. What, Esther? Right there.
Okay.
Just a massive hulking bugbear. Familiar sight by now. And so what you can see of that cavern, by the way, is just a massive wide rift that fills the eastern half. Basically, it's on about your elevation, and then a huge shelf, and then like there's basically a waterfall coming down that's feeding this part, and you can actually see the waterfall from there too. So you can see about like that right now from your angle, and that waterfall is falling off at the very bottom. The furthest thing you can see there. The very bottom left corner is water falling down about 20 feet and then splashing into the basin there, and then kind of going off to the northeast and into the cave there.
Okay. All right, honey, what do you think? Head in? We're not going to have long to think, so...
Yeah, might as well.
Is the bugbear that I can see on the same level as me, or is he below?
He is
You
directly
said there was a shelf,
he's straight ahead of you, leaned over a little bit like he's digging through some rubble that is right there on the edge of that water. He's facing away from you.
Okay. Then, excuse me. Well, you want to get started, honey? Alright.
Alright.
You need to take Esther
See
out
if I...
real quick. Do you guys have like 2 minutes for me to take her out real quick?
Yeah, no problem, dude.
Okay, alright, right back. Okay, Esther.
I should have talked to my shield and told it about bugbears.
Yeah. Too bad we should have done that. I was here.
I know.
We should have
Alright, she wouldn't go, so she's just gonna stay in here. Locked up, stupid pup. Okay, you guys still there? Yellow. Yep.
Girls, get away from the door.
I'm back whenever you guys are ready.
Ben said he'll be right back.
Okay. Stupid dog wouldn't go, so I had to lock her in here. Now she's gonna have to wait. She's gonna sit here pestering me.
don't know. She's been sitting over there like a little statue. 2 minutes.
Yo.
Nope. Your shield. Dude, I forgot. Like you guys had talked about trying to lie to it about something.
Yeah.
What was your plan there?
Shoot.
Did you have...
Well, she did want to tell about the bugbears, but we didn't
Bugbears,
technically tell you that we were going to do that narratively. So if you want to give it to us, you can. But we didn't specify,
we can-
directly that we were going to do it hardcore. So
Yeah, I mean, we can. If bugbear was your intent anyway, you've actually fought them before, so we'll just retcon in that you had a conversation with your shield about it. So, what are you telling it? What are you telling the shield?
there
I
was
guess
the
just
three
about
bugbears
the three
with the morning stars.
Yeah.
That was the fight you just had.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you go over the details of how it kind of clubbed you into the ribs and everything, and how you cleaved it in the neck. Almost cutting the head off from the shoulders there. You kind of go into all the gory details explaining to this, and you see the shield, the kind of image on there of the glowing skull, and you kind of cracking with your axe. That begins to slowly fade away until the shield is blank again. Go ahead and roll a persuasion roll. And almost immediately, as soon as it fades, the runes along the outer edge of it, the dwarven runes, Thordic, begin to glow again, and you see the image of you bringing your axe down with your shield up in front of you, down into towards this thing's neck. It's not the death blow that it shows, but it kind of part of the image that it thought was the most compelling of the story you told it. Kind of begins to fade into it in this like burnt etching on the front of it. It looks like it's successful.
Awesome. Okay.
So mechanically, anytime you're fighting bugbears in this case, you'd only get the bonus during that round, or during the bugbear part. It doesn't stop, like you can use it forever. It basically is bugbears right now forever until you change it. But anytime if a bugbear tries to swing at you, you can put that effect on also, and you'd have both. You'd have basically a 4 total bonus to AC.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's Bastion of Deeds?
Yep.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yep. All right, so back to where we were. Drost is, you're trying to sneak up on this bugbear or what? G?
Actually, I think I'm going to, he hasn't seen me yet, so I think I'm going to hit him with the sharpshooter at him.
Okay. So you'll have advantage because he doesn't know you're there. So you've got advantage on it. So click that.
Okay.
And then click the -5 for the sharpshooter, the first effect.
Okay.
And go ahead and roll your attack.
All right.
This is just a main hand throw. What dagger are you throwing, by the way? Are you trying to throw your new knife, or are you just throwing a dagger?
No, just a standard one.
Okay, right. You kind of line up your shot, and just as he leans himself down, you go to fling the dagger towards him, and his head turns up at like he heard something, just that slight moment of your the flick of your wrist, and his ear turns towards you, and the knife sinks straight into the ear. Go ahead and roll your damage. Put your sneak attack bonus on.
And do I hit the second sharpshooter effect?
Yeah, you hit the second sharpshooter effect, and then you hit the sneak attack.
Okay.
And go ahead and roll your damage. There isn't even a chance for him to react. The arrow sinks in through his ear, and he instantly slumps towards the water in front of him. Sorry, the music's a little bit loud. Slumps down into the water in front of him, dead.
Okay.
Your knife sticking out from his ear. Go ahead and roll initiative.
Sweet.
Oh,
Babe.
Ooh, natural 20.
What is it?
Initiative roll. You got shit rolls
This is
today.
crap, dude.
She's kicking your ass on rolls today.
I know. This is crap. That'll stay good too. Sweet.
Alright, have to roll it around to Westra. Alright, it is your turn. What are you doing? Now, technically, they don't know that you're here yet, so you still... you have a very small amount of time before these things are going to be able to react.
Be sneaky, honey. Well,
I'm
actually, I
gonna
guess just
reveal-
fucking.
You don't know what's there necessarily yet, but I'm going to go ahead and reveal the rest of the chamber. Just so you guys can see that. Oops.
If you can get around quietly, you might be able to get a sneak. Well, not at my, but an advantage.
Yeah, but I've only
attack.
got 30 feet of movement. That would put me directly where you are.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't seen you yet, so if you're quick about it, you'll be able to get in a little bit further. Well, you haven't seen them yet, so you don't know where they are. Drost can see, looks like all three of them, actually, from where he's at, of the remainder of the other voices you heard.
Okay,
You do
well,
see, by the way, up on the shelf there, Drost sees that the voice that was not familiar with Ushak, that was screwing the language up, looks to be a drow.
Okay.
Alright, well, I guess I'll just go up here next to Dross.
Okay.
And since when I get up there, I can see that one, right? When I get up there?
Yeah, it's so that one and the drow are up on a shelf. They're up 20 feet, but this cavern is really tall, very very large. There's a massive waterfall, and then that shelf. That you see where the waterfall is on the left side, right?
Yeah.
So that's up 20 feet, but they're right. The drow and that bugbear are up on the shelf, up 20 feet from you. And they can't see you yet.
Okay. Well then, I'm going to. We changed over my bow, right, to a one-handed.
Yeah. You
The
chose to
crossbow?
go with the one-handed bow.
Yeah, and I fixed that. It's set the way that it should be now.
Okay, so which one of the shield ones do I hit then? Since there's more than just a bugbear in here.
You would just hit the first one, and then if a bugbear is trying to hit you, then you'll hit the other one right before the hit.
Okay.
Okay.
And
And you have advantage. It has a scener.
It is not. So yeah, you have advantage.
Okay. And then we're gonna hit that one.
Okay, and it hits.
Good job.
So you kind of lean down a little bit to be able to get a good shot at this guy, and kind of kneel down on one knee, shield still up, just so you can kind of brace yourself and point up your crossbow to him and shoot up at the guy up on the shelf there. Bolt sticks into his arm as he was digging through some rocks, and he instantly looks up and starts looking around. Doesn't look like he's seen you yet, but definitely knows that obviously something's there, and he roars, in an angry, bloody frustration.
Alright,
You have a second attack.
Okay. Just making sure.
You try to shoot him again, but this one where he kind of just moved out of the way just in time, the bolt goes swinging right by his head and clanks off the rocks behind him.
And that's it.
Okay. That one is going to look around. Doesn't have... okay, so his angle is not very good to be able to see you, so... okay. Yeah, decent enough. He spots you, instantly roars, and then stands up, grabbing his morning star and points with his morning star down towards the tunnel, and starts trying to run his way. Let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. He can't make it over the water in his turn, so he stops at the edge there. And I mean, he's alerted the other two to your presence. This guy stands up, starts looking around, and looks to where 5 had pointed to, and comes charging toward that tunnel. Makes it to there. Alice's turn. She comes up behind. She says, "I don't see anybody. What do you want me to do?"
Can she see 10?
No, because we're in the
get far
way.
enough.
Okay.
Yeah, she can't get far
Okay.
enough to be able to do anything.
Yeah,
Drop
alright,
turn.
then tell her just.
Yeah, she
Tell
can't
her
do
just-
anything.
Yeah, skip this one.
Yeah, Drost's turn.
Okay. Going to in next to McDudeson and see if I can hit him.
You have to go like there. There's too much room
Okay.
there. You wouldn't be able to stay on that spot.
Okay.
And it hits.
Sweet.
You would have had advantage on that. Hang on. Okay, all right, that's fine. It still hit anyway, but go ahead and roll it again to see if it was a crit or not.
Okay.
This isn't a second attack. It's just because you would have had. Nah, never mind.
Well,
saw
because he
you
would have
coming.
he
Yeah,
would have seen me
saw
coming,
you.
huh?
Well, he knew you guys were there, and then you come running around the corner, so he would have seen you coming. Anyway,
Okay.
so that's fine. Yeah, but you still have sneak attack because you're the only one within range of him. So go ahead. There you go.
Sweet.
So as he's kind of charging around the corner, you spin yourself around and stab your new knives just straight through his neck, and there's just an arterial spray that just covers you because this thing is much taller than you. It's about 2.5 feet taller than you. So you're just drenched. If you were already wet with water, but now it's just covered in blood. And you yank your knife from him, and he actually collapses towards you. So go ahead and roll a dex check. He was charging.
Okay.
Remember, he was running forward towards you, so he had all that momentum, and you just kind of stopped him all at once. So
Yeah.
You said check, not save.
yeah, dex check.
Oh. Check. Okay.
See if you can jump out of the way in time.
Well, wouldn't it be a save because it's coming at me?
I mean, it's kind of debatable. In this case, I would still say check because you're trying.
Oh,
to
it's I
jump
don't care.
out
I'm
of the way.
just
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's you trying to jump out of the way in time. Otherwise, it would just
Yeah.
automatically get you.
Yeah. Did that roll? I lagged.
Yeah.
A 2.
Didn't roll
Was
good.
that a toe?
It did roll. He kind of collapses forwards towards you, and with his neck just ripped wide open, and pushes you down. You're not knocked prone, but you're knocked backward a little bit, and he is collapsed there and dead. Roll a actually I'll just roll. You just from the force of him kind of pushing you over, his fist kind of just cracks against your jaws. Only one. You take 1 damage from it.
Okay.
And he is dead. You still have your bonus action.
Okay.
What are you doing?
See if I can throw a Mr. Dro. Do I have 35 feet of throwing distance?
So how you figure that out is you click on the little button to the right of one of your daggers,
Alright.
like dagger throw.
So this one would be my offhand, so yeah.
Okay. And
A
then you see
little
where it
magnifying glass?
Yeah. No, click the plus, like the button, the I button.
Okay.
You can click
Oh,
the
that
main
must
name. It
have
doesn't
made
matter.
it. Yeah.
Esther, shut up. Stop.
Range 20-60.
Yeah,
So,
so what those numbers mean is the first one would be for you this doesn't matter, I'll explain why in a second. But
advantage
normally,
or disadvantage right now?
yeah, basically.
Basically.
If it was within 20 feet, it would be a normal attack. If it was between 20 and 60, it would be a disadvantage, or if it was between 21 and 60. If it was anything above 60, you wouldn't be able to hit it at all. But because of sharpshooter, because you pick sharpshooter specifically, you can throw up to 60 feet without disadvantage at all.
Sweet.
And that's less
Okay,
than 60 feet. So.
Okay. See if
Who
I
you
can hit the
throwing?
Dro.
The drone? Okay.
Offhand dagger to the Dro. Really?
And it misses. And it goes
That's
clattering
great.
off the rocks behind him, and actually lands into the water. And so it clacks against you see the angle, right? It would hit the rocks behind him, on the south side of the water there. And then just a brief second later, you see the dagger flipping through the water as it falls down the waterfall and is moving its way down that way.
Okay.
That's it for your turn.
Yeah.
Okay. You still have, I mean, it hasn't moved close enough for you to be able to grab it yet, but you still have some movement, and you used your bonus action, so that's it. Okay.
Actually, so I think I will move back a bit.
Okay.
Then I'm good.
All right. It is that Dro's turn anyway. It is going to shout down, like you hear this after you've kind of ducked your way back into the tunnel. It shouts down to you. It says, Drost Westra, I know what you're here for. You're not going to get it. And then it is going to... You hear feet clattering, and then you see it come into view, just from where it's kind of moved up here, and move its way back down towards that tunnel. Oh, stop the spectator on here. Whoops. And it is Wester's turn.
I'm going to move.
There is.
So I can stand.
Okay, so there's. You can't see it very well, but you see the south of the waterfall. There's like a rope ladder. You see that? It's for climbing
No.
up and down to that ledge. So if you zoom in on the map just south of the water, where the waterfall part is, and there's 2 torches, it's between the 2 torches.
Okay.
There's a rope ladder there.
Alright, now from where I'm standing, I can't throw farther down the tunnel.
Is he down the stairs?
And he's elevated?
He's not down the stairs yet, but he's too far back for you to be able to see him from that 20-foot cliff in front of you.
Okay. I can still see the bugbear, right?
Yeah, because there's a cleft right next to where the waterfall is.
Alright, I'm going to...
Make sure you get close enough, honey, if you're going to try to hit him with your crossbow, that you're not at disadvantage if you possibly can.
This one,
Check
this
your
one
range.
does have a bolt sticking out of his shoulder. Where you shot
Well,
him earlier.
my range is
So-
3120.
So if you shot him before, you must be able to hit him, because I don't think he's moved.
Yeah.
He's 45 feet right now, which actually is above the 30, which would mean disadvantage.
Okay.
Probably should have had it on the earlier one too, but because it was a sneak attack, I wasn't going to impose. And also I forgot.
Okay.
Alright,
So you
that
might be able to
was
move a little closer, honey.
10. Alright, so is that part of the rock wall, or is that
Yeah.
the...
You'd have to go 1 to the left of it, but I wouldn't count it as extra movement. It's just basically, you could go 1 more south of that.
Alright.
Let's see. How much movement have you used to get there?
That would be... See, I was there, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So I got 1 more.
You could go there. You can make it right there, which is just barely on the ledge, so don't fall. In fact, if you want to move there, you can move there, which would mean no disadvantage, but you do need to make a dex check to make sure you don't fall in the water. Actually, make it a dex save, actually, would be the right one.
Alright.
It's not a high DC. You're not, clumsily falling in or anything. No, you're fine. That's fine. Okay, so you're standing on the edge of the water there, and looking down. You actually, just as you kind of are approaching and looking at your feet to make sure you don't step off the edge, you actually see something glimmering in the water there, and then look back up and then go to make your shot. Ooh,
Nice.
I think it's the first natural 20 attack. Yeah, that's a
Today,
really
for
shitty
sure.
Effect, yeah. All right, so you fire the shot straight at him, and he's kind of distracted and not really because he was stopped at the edge of the water there, trying to figure out how to jump across it as he's the most efficient way instead of having to go all the way around. And as he's kind of not paying attention, and you shoot at him, it's almost the same as where Drost's dagger had stuck in the ear of the other one. This one, same thing, same ear too. And just, where you already have 1 bolt sticking out of his shoulder, another one kind of sinks straight into his ear right above it. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Nice, baby.
Alright, so the bolt sticks into his ear, and he is so distracted by it that he actually goes to trip a little bit and starts to fall, and falls into the water here. He is going to, he falls into the face first into the water, just trips into it, and is trying to right himself, but it's just too late. He goes rolling off the side of the waterfall and crashes into the rocks down at the bottom of the waterfall. And the body starts to kind of float into the water there, not moving. He's toast.
Okay.
What are you guys doing?
When I look back down at the water, is that shiny thing Strauss dagger?
No, actually, it's not. It's something that looks like it's buried in the dirt a little bit. So what are you guys doing? Are you going to try to dig through that and try to find that? Are you going to try to pursue that drow? What are you doing?
What do you want to do?
Start going after the drow. Would I have a second to grab? I'm sure one of them probably got lost in the water, but can I grab the one out of the bugbear on my way through, going after the drow?
Yep, you grab, so the where he's just slunked over, where he started to fall into it and your dagger is sticking out of his ear. You pull that one free, wipe the gore off on your leathers, and roll an investigation just real quick, just for a cursory glance to see if you can see your other dagger floating by.
Okay.
Nope. Yeah, you don't see it. You look, but you just don't see it there.
Don't got time anyway, so.
Alright, well, I'm assuming that whatever probably what they were looking for. So I'm trying to dig it out. while you run after the drone.
Okay.
And then I'll catch up with you.
Sure.
The dro's gone. He had time enough to get down that tunnel.
All right, then I'll wait with Wester
Well,
then.
yeah, by the time you climb up and get up there, he'd be pretty long gone.
Yeah, then obviously I'm sure Josh figures that out and starts to run after him, and then changes his mind and says, he ain't gonna catch him. So
Okay. All right. So what are you guys doing?
looking for that thing.
Digging
I'm gonna
that
see if I can help.
shiny thing out.
Yeah, see if I can help
On the wall.
Wester find it.
Okay. You saw where it was, so you don't really have too much difficulty with it. Go ahead and roll just a quick dex to see if you can successfully dig it out without, getting yourself dropped in the water.
Save or check?
Check.
Yeah, for your digging. Drost, you're trying to help, but you're just, there's still a little bit of blood on the knife, and you're kind of distracted by that because you don't like having your knives dirty. And you're just not really much help. You're actually just kicking up a bunch of dirt and making it harder. But Wester digs through, and because she knew where it was, so she kind of just reaches in and kind of pushes away all the dirt there. You pull out some very shiny bracers that look like they've been there a long time, but still look like as soon as you pull them out, the dust or the dirt just kind of sloughs right off of them. They don't seem to be too... they're not well decorated or anything. They're relatively plain, but just a pair of bracers that look to be, they definitely have a kind of a sparkly feeling to them.
Okay, well, at least put them in the bag, check them out later.
Okay.
What is she doing?
She's playing.
Adding him to the party inventory, 1 sec. Okay. All right. What are you guys doing?
All right, is there a time for us to stop that would be good game-wise relatively soon? I mean, a little bit longer is fine.
Next,
but...
basically, all that's left really is the end. So it's up to you guys.
Is it going to be a big fight?
Yeah. I mean, we could start there next time. That's fine.
You want to
Want to do that?
do it next time?
Sure.
Is that okay, G?
Yep, that's fine.
All right.
All right, so Monday?
Yeah.
All right, then we will pick up here. And that'll probably be... Because this is the last kind of big place in Lost Mine of Phandelver. So that'll probably be the big ending anyway, for the most part, depending on how much time we get to play. Big epilogue for this arc, and then we'll figure out what these guys are doing next. We'll probably go to balance for a little while just to kind of catch up a little bit with balance. But we'll go from there.
Cool.
All right, dudes, that was fun.
Yeah, it was a good session.
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, Holmes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.